The movie begins with a severely injured woman named Verse, with blue blood dripping from her nose. She sees an older lady pointing a gun at someone, but before understanding anything, a figure emerges from the smoke and points a weapon at the woman. Suddenly, she wakes up. Realizing it was just all a dream, she gets up and looks out her window at the city of Hala, the capital of Cree civilization, in 1995. Then, she goes to her mentor, Jan Rog, to ask him to train with her as she can't sleep. As he prepares her fighting skills, he asks her if there's anything new in her dreams, indicating that she has had those dreams before. Annoyed that she's losing the fight, she threatens him with a photon blast out of her fist. He warns her to control it, or she'll have to commune with the Supreme Intelligence, as there's nothing more dangerous to a warrior than emotion. They continue their fight, but she eventually blasts him, prompting them to go to the Supreme Intelligence, the artificial intelligence that rules the Kree Empire. On their way there, Verse asks him what the Supreme Intelligence looks like, and he explains that their subconscious chooses the way they appear to them. Jan Rogue reminds her that he's teaching her to control her powers, but to control them, she must control her impulses first. In her meeting, Supreme Intelligence takes on the form of the elderly lady from her recurring dreams. It tells her that despite Jan Rog's belief that she is ready, it doesn't think so. It reminds her that she's another victim of the Skrull expansion, which has threatened their civilization for centuries. Their longtime enemy, the Skrull, occupies different worlds one by one and can take any shape. They are a threat to Hala, so they must destroy them. The intelligence allows Verse to join Starforce on a mission. Later, with the team, which consists of Minerva, Karath, Broncher, and Atlas. Jan Rog gives the Starforce a briefing on to search and rescue mission of an undercover operative named Soshlar. He informs the team that the Skrulls have captured the planet Torfa. Jan Rog instructs the team to perform an incursion on the world. So Verse and the rest of the Starforce go through underwater, using their suits to reach the surface. Soon, they realize that the Torfan natives are Skrulls, and that the mission was an ambush. The Skrull commander Talos, disguised as Solar, abducts Verse and takes her to a Skrull spacecraft while the rest of the Starforce retreats. On the Skrull spacecraft, Talos puts her through a memory probe, which gives him access to her memories from different times in her life. So far, they've only gotten the location of C-53, also known as Earth, where they're going next. She then awakens just as Talos unlocks her memories, revealing that he wants information from her about a light-speed engine. She orchestrates an escape by unintentionally making a massive hole in the ship. She gets on an escape pod, which gets shot at by Talos. Eventually, she crashes through the roof of a Blockbuster Video in the middle of a shopping plaza. Then, she tries to contact Starforce Command, but her communications are down. Spotting a security officer, she asks him where she can find communications equipment, which he points at the nearby Radio Shack. The next day, Talos and the Skrulls assume the identity of surfers on a beach in Los Angeles. At the same time, Verse modifies a payphone to communicate with Starforce Command. After a brief conversation with Jan Rog, learning she'll be stranded on Earth for the next 22 hours. She also attracts the attention of S.H.I.E.L.D. after the security officer reports her. Nick Fury and Phil Coulson arrive to interrogate her, dismissing her Kree authority and her claims that the Skrulls have come to Earth. They're interrupted by one of the Skrulls, disguised as a surfer, who shoots at them. Verse protects Fury by shoving him into the phone booth, and she chases down the Skrull. She chases the Skrull on a subway train station and bumps into an older woman. She manages to get on the train and scans the passengers for anyone suspicious. She approaches an older man reading from a Malrat script who smiles at her. The Skrull has already changed his appearance and appears as an older woman. Still, Verse recognizes his disguise as the older woman she bumped, so she punches him, shocking everyone in the train car. They fight while the passengers try to stop her, and the Skrull runs away. She recovers a crystal containing her extracted memories. However, the Skrull evades her and escapes amid a crowd at a train station. Meanwhile, Fury and Coulson chase after Verse in their vehicle. Fury gets a call from Coulson, saying he's still at the Blockbuster. He realizes the Coulson sitting on the passenger side next to him is a Skrull imposter. The imposter tries to shoot him with a gun, but Fury grabs it and kills him by crashing their car in oncoming traffic. He soon wakes from the crash, sustains only minor injuries around his eye, and sees the imposter's body, which now reveals a green alien. He covers it up before calling for backup. Later, Verse inserts the crystal containing her extracted memories into her communications device. She sees a familiar-looking woman and the name of the bar they frequented. She finds a map and locates the bar's location. As her Star Force uniform was getting her unwanted attention, she steals a motorcycle to drive to Poncho's bar. Afterward, Fury takes the Skrull's corpse to a lab, and the examiner performs an autopsy. He tells Fury that the body's chemical makeup isn't of anything found on Earth. Their boss, S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Keller, orders Fury to work with Verse, keep tabs on her, and eventually hand her to S.H.I.E.L.D. custody. He also commands him to do it alone, as they can't trust anyone anymore, considering the Skrulls may have already infiltrated them. As he leaves, Keller mourns the loss of the Skrull, revealing that he's Talos in disguise. Later that day, Verse arrives at the Poncho's bar, recollecting memories of her and the familiar woman enjoying their time there. She sees a picture of a fighter pilot with the Pegasus Project logo, so she asks the barkeep for the location of Project Pegasus. Fury appears, telling her that the information is classified. The two question each other to ensure they're not Skrull imposters. She proves it by shooting a photon blast out of her fist. So, she asks him to take her to Project Pegasus. On their way there, she tells him that the Skrulls are looking for Dr. Wendy Lawson, as they believe she developed a light-speed engine. She must stop them before they become unstoppable. Fury takes her to the Project Pegasus joint NASA and U.S. Air Force facility in Nevada. The security detains them, but he uses his skill on a piece of tape to get them out, and they head to the records room where Verse blasts the door to unlock it. On their way there, they find a cat named Goose, and he coos at it. There, they discover Lawson's plans for the light-speed engine, but the project got terminated. Fury theorizes she's crazy because of her weird writings. Nonetheless, Verse recognizes them as Kree glyphs, realizing she's Kree. Later, Fury tells her that she's dead, as well as the unnamed pilot, in an unauthorized test flight with the experimental light-speed engine 6 years ago. The last person to see them alive was his other pilot, Maria Rambeau. Verse recognizes Lawson as the woman murdered in her nightmares. She sees in a picture that she's the fighter pilot presumed dead. Later, she contacts Jan Rog, who confirms that Lawson is Kree. He tells her that she was an undercover Kree operative named Marvell. She was experimenting with technology that could help the Kree win the war. Verse tells him that she found evidence that she had a life there on C-53, and that Lawson is who she sees as the Supreme Intelligent. He insists that her memories may have been tampered with by the Skrull, and not to let her emotions cloud her judgment. He tells her they will figure it out soon as they're nearing her location. Meanwhile, Fury reports their location to Keller, and a group of agents led by Keller arrives, including Coulson. Keller calls him Nicholas. He soon realizes that Keller is a Skrull imposter and goes rogue with Verse. Keller reveals himself to be Talos, but Verse arrives and blasts him away. Soon they encounter Coulson, who allows the two to escape. They hijack the Quadjet to run and see that Goose is a stowaway. Motivated to seek answers from Rambeau, the last person to see Verse and Lawson alive, they fly to the Rambeau residence in New Orleans, Louisiana. They arrive at the said residence. Maria Rambeau and her daughter, Monica, are surprised to see Verse still alive. They tell her that her real name is Carol Danvers, who was once like family to them, and they thought she died with Lawson. Verse explains what happened to her and what she remembers, while Monica gives her a box of old things. Its contents are primarily pictures of her past self that Verse is trying to remember. She sees a piece of her old dog tags. What's left of it says Carol Dan. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, but it's just the neighbor who wants to check out the jet Fury and Verse arrived in. Verse insists it's the Skrulls, but Maria tells her neighbor it isn't a good time and closes the door. Talos appears inside his green skin and negotiates a temporary alliance, while Norex impersonates Maria, distracting Monica outside. Afterward, Talos reveals that he has the black box recording from the plane crash and asks for help decoding some coordinates. He gets scared of Goose and insists it's not a cat but a Flarkin. Hearing the black box recording causes Verse to remember what happened on the flight. A spaceship attacked her and Lawson. making them crash onto a small peninsula. She gets off the jet and helps him get out. However, she notices that Lawson is bleeding blue blood, which prompts him to reveal that her real name is Marvel, and she comes from a planet called Hala. She tries to get up, attempting to destroy the energy core to keep it away from the Kree, but before she does, Yon-Rogg shoots and kills her. He claims he had uncovered Marvel's deception and alliance with the Skrulls. Yon-Rogg comes out from behind the thick smoke and tells her they won't harm her and only need the core. In an attempt to destroy it, Verse gains cosmic abilities after absorbing the energy from the exploding engine, but losing her memory. Yon-Rogg realizes this and decides to bring her with them to Hala. Talos explains that the Kree has deceived her. The Skrulls are homeless refugees constantly on the run from the Kree and are on the brink of extinction. The core that Marvel found would have powered a light-speed ship capable of carrying the Skrulls to safety, a new home where the Kree can't reach them. Talos explains that the core she destroyed was only the engine. If she helps them decode the coordinates, they can find the core. That evening, they figure out that the coordinates leading to the laboratory are orbiting Earth and space. So, Norex modified their quadrant so that it could reach space. In the meantime, Verse reclaims her name as Carol and convinces Maria to be her co-pilot for the journey. Later, she asks Monica to change her uniform colors to blue, red, and yellow, referencing her old U.S. Air Force shirt. She then signifies that she is no longer a Kree. The next day, Yon-Rogg arrives on Earth to confront Verse. However, he quickly realizes that the Verse he was communicating with is a Skrull and swiftly executes him. He contacts Ronan and tells him that the Skrulls have infiltrated C-53 and to immediately come to eradicate the Skrull. Later, Verse, Fury, Talos, Maria, and Goose take the now modified jet to the Mar-Vell's cloaked laboratory, a Kree Imperial cruiser. Inside, Verse finds the Tesseract, the power source of the energy core, which they place in a lunchbox for safekeeping. Talos makes a weird call, and the remaining refugee Kree comes out of hiding and he reunites with his wife and daughter. He tells Verse that thousands more of them are scattered around the galaxy and asks for her help to reunite them. Suddenly, the Starforce ambushes them. Verse confronts Yon-Rogg about his lies, and he activates her implant suppressing her powers. She tries to fight him without it, but gets knocked out and placed in stasis to confront the Supreme Intelligence while taking her friends and the remaining Kree as prisoners. They confiscate the lunchbox containing the Tesseract and cage Goose as it's a high threat as a Flerken. Under the stasis, she tries to break out by fighting the Supreme Intelligence. It insists that the Kree have made her into what she's now, as Verse, but she isn't persuaded. So she gets up and proclaims her real name is Carol. She resists the Intelligence's power over her. She destroys the Kree implant, allowing her powers to reach her full potential. Then, she knocks out the guards, and her powerful outbursts frees the Skrulls and her friends. She takes the lunchbox and tells Fury to take the Tesseract, but Goose swallows it before he can. Seeing this shocks Fury and Maria, but they finally accept that Goose is a Flerken, and Verse tells them to take the Skrulls and Flerken to go while she buys them some time. In a battle for the lunchbox that Verse claims contained the Tesseract, she pins the Starforce under some debris. She knocks out Bronze Chair and blasts the Kree soldiers. She evades Minerva's shots and knocks her down, while Borith and Atlas try to pin her down, but she also knocks them down. Yon-Rogg manages to unpin himself from the debris and fight her by himself. Then, he realizes that the lunchbox doesn't have the Tesseract, and he runs to the hangar to the Skrulls while Bronze Chair and Borith fight her. And soon, she knocks them out again. When Maria and Fury make their way to the quadrant, several Kree soldiers stop them, but Goose immediately swallows them. Later, they face two more Kree soldiers. Fury tries to make Goose eat them, but he doesn't, so they give up. The Kree soldiers bring them to the hangar, where they will blast off into space. But one of the soldiers tells Fury to play it cool, revealing that it's Talos. He also asks the whereabouts of the Tesseract, and Fury tells him that the Flerken kitty ate it. Meanwhile, the Skrulls are escaping on the quadrant with Maria and Fury. Still, in the process, Talos is shot by Yon-Rogg, rendering him inoperable to fight. Maria shoots down the Kree ship blocking their exit, causing an explosion. Jan-Rog contacts Minerva to take them down in a dropship, and she flies off to follow the Quadrant. Jan-Rog tries to escape on another boat, but Verse grabs onto it and he shoots at her, making her fall. As she struggles mid-fall, she controls her powers and flies off safely. Minerva intercepts the Quadrant to the Mojave Desert. Still, Maria evades her due to her successful flying skills, and she shoots her down. Jan-Rog arrives and shoots at them, but Verse appears and knocks his ship down. Suddenly, Ronan, the accuser, arrives and orders to deploy ballistic warheads. Verse stops one of them and throws it back to the other missiles, causing a chain reaction and destroying all the deployed missiles. Then, Ronan realizes it isn't C-53's defense system but Verse. He orders his men to take her down. She easily evades and destroys the smaller ships and one of the Kree warships, prompting the squadron to retreat. She lands, and Jan-Rog challenges her to a duel. Still, she instantly incapacitates him with a photon blast. She sends him back to Halo with a warning for the Supreme Intelligence, declaring that she'll come and end it all. Meanwhile, in the Quadrant, Fury coos at Goose as it has saved them. With his guard down, Goose claws and unintentionally blind his left eye. The Skrulls take temporary shelter at the Rambeau residence, where Talos begins to recover from his injuries. Verse says she'll help them find a home and finish what Marvel started. Before she departs Earth with the Skrulls, she tells Fury to keep the Tesseract hidden on Earth. She hands him a modified pager to call her in an emergency. Monica gives her the leather jacket she left for her a while back. Then, Verse says goodbye to her and Maria and leads the ship with the Skrulls. The movie ends a little while later as Fury drafts the Protector Initiative to locate heroes like Veers. He learns her Air Force call sign is Avenger, and he renames it to the Avengers Initiative in her honor. Later, Goose climbs onto Fury's desk and spits out the Tesseract. In the mid-credits, Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Banner, and James Rhodes watch the pager Fury set up before he leaves. Suddenly, Verse appears before them and demands to know Fury's whereabouts.